Hi, everybody. Apparently, excuse me for the technical difficulties. Apparently, I am live. You know how when things happen, they happen, right? Okay. So, first and foremost, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is day two, and I'm really excited about what we're going to be talking about today. So, for those of you who don't know, my name is Uche Maple. I am a leadership and business strategist. Been working in the STEM field for the last 22 years, recently retired, and now full time blown entrepreneurship. And I am just very passionate about two things. One, leadership development, personal development, and really overall well being and being in a financial state of independence and financial freedom. Absolutely. So, my business, Agaizi Maple Enterprises, is a leadership and personal development training company where we also offer business coaching. My claim to fame, again, is that I was able to retire at the age of 44. And the reason why I was able to do so and I had options was simply because I was able to invest outside of my 9 to 5. I love being an engineer. I love being a mentor. I love managing projects, portfolio. I love doing all of that customer interaction, all of that. However, one thing that I knew when I first started working back in the early 2000s was that I didn't want to spend 45 years in the workplace. I had saw my mom do it and I saw how hard it was for her to work. I saw how difficult it was for her every day, and that was just not the quality of life that I wanted to live. But at the same time, I also saw other people in my family who was thriving in the workplace, who was thriving and knew that with the money that we're bringing in our 9 to 5 is what we should use to invest not just in ourselves but also for our family as well, right? So creating other streams of income. I think one of the biggest lies that we have been told is that you work hard, do great, put your head down, and people will notice you. The reality is that in the world and society that we live in, that I believe is that everyone has a responsibility, everyone has a purpose, and everyone has a mission on their lives. And that is to make someone else's life better, to be an igniter for someone else to fulfill their purpose driven mission life. And that happened with me, right? Someone planted a seed in me, which ignited me, and therefore I'm going to pay it back by doing that for others as well, which is why I love, love, love helping aspiring entrepreneurs, high performing professionals, people who know that I know that, which I want to retire like you did within the next 3 to 5 years, or early on that I don't want to be in the workplace for 45 years. Or if I choose to do it, which is absolutely fine, I want to make sure that I have the freedom where I can bring in another stream of income. I think one of the biggest hitters that I realized in terms of working to your, 62 and up and retiring and expecting Social Security, it was when my mom retired at the early age of 55 to take care of my sister. And by the time she was able to reach the age where she was able to get Social Security, she was told that she didn't have enough credits. And and if you haven't heard this story, it shocked me and it shocked her. And the comment that they had was that, hey, you need to go work more to make more credits. Here's the reality: my mom is an educator. And I can definitely tell you that the money she's getting from Social Security is nothing to live off of. So if that was not an igniter in itself for me, it was. And I try to let people know that hey, we have Jomo Maple in here. Good afternoon, Jomo. To let people know that, listen, you have your wealth is a birthright. We were all birthed and given different missions, different goals, different aspirations for that we should fulfill it. And my goal is to help ignite that in you, and I love doing it. So that's why I developed the Business Accelerator Program, which is for aspiring entrepreneurs, thought leaders, high performing professionals. If you're working in a workplace and you have an idea, or started working on something, you've generated maybe 1,000 or two, but you don't know what to do next, then reach out to me. My information is in, I'm going to put in my email address inside of the comments field where you can definitely reach out to me. That's my website. I'm sorry. No, that's my email address. Reach out to me and let me know how I can help you and best serve you. Yes? All right. So let's get on with this amazing Learn and Lunch. So again, tell me, for those of you, if you don't know me, my name is Uche Maple. I'm a leadership and business strategist. My claim to fame is I was able to retire at the age of 45 after being 22 years in the workplace. I am the founder of Agassiz Maple Enterprises, which is a leadership and personal development training program. I help high performing overachievers, aspiring entrepreneurs to start and grow their business. And I help organizations because my goal, one of my true passions is leadership development. I help organizations develop the next generation of leaders within the workplace and absolutely love doing that as well. So here's the thing. We talked about earlier this week on Tuesday, specifically about what it means to be a strength base, right? What are your strengths? And if you did not contact me, you're like, hey, Uche, I want to understand what my strengths are, and please, help me out. Please email me, reach out to me via email, or you can reach out to me in my DM on LinkedIn or on YouTube, right? So just put it in the comments and I will definitely reach out to you. It should not be a secret. You should know what your strengths are. So let's just recap really quickly. On Tuesday, we talked about what it means and how you can identify your strengths. Yes? Yes. Okay. So the biggest thing I said, do one thing. The first thing you can do is write down what you think your strengths are. Right. What do you think you're great at? What are your natural abilities? Are you a communicator? Are you a leader? Do you know how to execute? Are you a person who know how to woo people? Are you a relator? Are you strategic? Are you a person who knows how to collect data? Are you informative? The words that I'm using are all part of the strength-based assessment that I usually perform on my clients. Again, if you're interested, make sure you DM me. And each one of those strengths helps you identify where you are and things that you do naturally that you think that, it's no big deal, but it is a gift that you can do, right? So one of my gifts is being strategic, which comes in handy all the time. And the reason why I'm saying I'm going to use this as an example, because during times of uncertainty, you need to be able to lean in on your strengths, because that gives you a level of comfort and confidence, right? Whenever we're doing something in terms of uncertainty. So for me, it's being strategic. Being strategic is phenomenal, especially as a person who is always looking at different paths and routes on how to get things done. When I'm looking at a problem, I am picturing all the different roads that it may lead to, right? So I'm usually 5 or 6 steps ahead than the people in my environment, which sometimes can be frustrating for people, right? Especially if you are a person who thinks very logically, step 1, step 2, step 3. As a person who's a strategist, I'm at step 1 and I go all the way to 10, because in my brain, like an algorithm, I've already done my if and else and a nor, not today statements, right? So, and I've already removed a couple of things that I've already worked through, and it can be frustrating for others. However, let me caveat with that. However, when it's during times of uncertainty, I am able to lean on the two key that probably 3 strengths that I'm able to lean on is really being a strategist, is being a relator, and a maximizer. And here's why I say this. First and foremost, when we are operating in times of uncertainty, that means that it's the unknown, right? It means it's the unfamiliar. It means that we are tackling or doing something new. So for those of you, please put in comments field if this is helpful for you, right? It's the unknown. So there is an uneasiness that is happening within us. Yes. And when we get to this part, And let's say this, like times of uncertainty could be one, you're starting your business, right? Talk about anxiety level, right? Two, you might have gotten a new position. Three, you found a big problem in your business and you just don't know what to do. So that is something that's uncertain for you. It could be even the fact that you're trying to figure out, okay, I have all this debt, I'm trying to get out of debt. What do I need to do? I don't know what's next. So times of uncertainty, that's exactly what it is. It's uncertain time. And what usually happens is that when we are in that, we have a tendency to try to do it ourselves and not think about what is it that we can leverage that we are great at to minimize the impact. Does that make sense? I'm going to repeat that again. Okay. Hey, doll. How are you? Thanks for joining. Love it. So when you're going through times of uncertainty, the reason why it is important for you to know what your strengths are is so that you can leverage it during those times of uncertainty so that it can minimize the impact that you're going to be going through. Yes, yes. So as an example, strategic is a strength of mine. When I started my business, let's be clear. When I started my business, I was didn't know what the heck I was doing. I went to my first conference, had no idea when people were talking about put a calendar link in your email. And I was like, what does that mean? Coming from the workplace, we know exactly what we need to do. We have our systems in place. Everything is there for you. The only thing you need to do is understand the work that you need to do so that you can thrive and move forward. Yes. But when you're starting your business, you're starting from the ground up. So I can tell you, I was in a terrain that was very unfamiliar to me, that was very foreign to me, that I was not comfortable with. However, I had to take a moment and step back and say, okay, Uche, since you are now undergoing and going into something very new and very different that you're not aware of, you're unfamiliar with, how can you harness and leverage the skills that you have generated, created, strengthened, so that you can move forward in progress and not stand here and be in the sea of despair or unknown so that you can't move forward? Yes? Because here's the reality: when you are starting anything, the way you start is how you do everything else. And you want to make sure that you are starting in the place where your why is bigger than what you do. If you don't understand why you're doing a certain business, or why you want to be in this place of uncertainty, then you're going to always struggle. Case in point, my mom is now 75, and now that I'm now a full-time entrepreneur, right? She's retired, but she still works. She still works because she likes to do it. And my goal that I want to do is to purchase her a nice decked out place on the water so that she can just live in comfort and she doesn't have to do anything. Now, whether or not she decides to do it or not, that's up to her. But this is my goal and my dream for my mom that I want to do. So when I am starting my business, I always keep that in mind. Is I'm doing this for my mom, I'm doing this for my kids, I'm doing this for my family. And that's why I do it. Because I don't want my mom to ever be in a position where she can't live out her life. It's her time, right? She gave birth to me. Now it's my time to take care of her. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. One of the reasons why I started my business, because the reality is that when you're working a 9 to 5, there is a cap. You can ask, you can give, but let's be clear. There is a cap on how much money you're going to make, regardless of how far you move up the ranks. When you have your own business, it's up to you. You get to be the decider. You get to make the decision on how much you want to make. Yes. All right. So as a strategist, when I started my business, I began to strategize on what is it that I need to do for the next 12 months. And when I say strategy, I meant, who do I need to talk to? What programs do I need to develop? What classes do I need to take where I'm investing in me? What tools do I need to purchase? Who is it that I need to bring on to help? So I begin to write these things down, right? And then my goal, overall goal at the end of the year was this is how much money I wanted to bring in terms of revenue. And I had to strategize on how to get there. Now, let's be clear. I was not a social media guru. I didn't know how to use social media when I first started. I didn't know anything about how to send out emails or CRM or any of that. But because I leaned in one of my strengths, which was strategy, I was able to at least map out a plan so it wouldn't seem so overwhelming. Yes. Right now, if you know what your strengths are, is put it in comments. And here's how you know if it's a strength. This is homework. I gave this homework on Tuesday. I'm going to give it to you again. This is what I used to tell my mentees when they would get performance reviews. Write down what you think your strengths are. Go and ask 5 people. 2 of those could be family. Other 2 could be friends. Ask 6 people. And the other 2 could be colleagues. And ask them, hey, I would like to get some feedback from you. Can you know, when you think of me, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? When it comes to my work, what do you think about that? When it comes to me finishing things, like even at home, if I got, let's say your parents or your friends, you guys decide to do something, do you show up on time? Do you communicate back? When they tell you what their perception of you is, map it out to see what you wrote versus what they wrote. It's either going to confirm that, yep, you're in alignment with who you are, or it's going to reflect that there's a conflict here. 1, you are exuding something to them that you think you are not doing, or 2, something that you think is your strength is not. Hello. Because a lot of times things that we think that we're great at, no, we're not good at it. We just work really hard and it's very difficult for us to complete. The things that you do very easily that you take for granted is what your strengths are. Yes, yes? Yes, yes. Okay, so another way on how you can lean in on your strength is simply by thinking, how can my strength help me by accepting the uncertainty when I find myself in? So what that means is that when we are navigating in a terrain, how can your strength shows up that allows you to accept this uncertainty? Let me say that again. When you are in an unfamiliar, uncertain environment, how does your strength show up that allows you to accept that you are now in an environment of unfamiliarity? My strength of being a achiever. So what an achiever does, we overachieve. We'll work all night. We'll do what we need to do. The way that strength shows up when I'm working on something. So for example, I have an event coming up next month. It's a 2-day workshop on how to turn your knowledge into currency. I said it because your currency is your knowledge. The information that you got in you is what makes you money. A lot of people don't know how to bring that out. So I'm having a 2-day workshop that's coming up November 15th and 16th. That information, that link, please go ahead and put that link, will be in the comments. So I have an event coming up, right? And what makes me uncertain is because it's just a lot of things to do. A lot of promotional emails, a lot of promotional posts, promotions on social media, a lot of things happening, right? So how do my achiever accepts that I'm in something that's uncertain for me? Well, the way it shows up is by me knowing because this is a time that I'm not familiar with this. I know that I am going to be working extra time. And because my achiever is already on drive mode, it makes it somewhat comfort for me. How, and I think that is key, because how many of you, raise your hand right now, you have been in environments where you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna get this done. This is, and you take a deep breath and be like, Lord, help me in the name of Jesus. How am I gonna do this? In those moments, how do you think your strength shows up so that you can accept that this is a time of chaos for you? It's a time of uncertainty for you. Excuse me, uncertainty, not chaos. And if you can answer that, that helps you move through. I think that's important, because it's one thing to operate your strength to help you get through it, to help you overcome it, but it's another one to help you get through it. Yes, yes. Yes, so that's something we have to think about all the time. All right. So another thing that I want to make sure you guys think about, and this is the last point that I'm going to talk about, is that when you are going through times of uncertainty, how can you use your strength to support your well-being? Because you are having anxiety, right? It's a lot of emotions coming up. You're feeling stressed. So, doll, you just said that you're starting a nonprofit, right? So this would be an example. If you've never done one before, you may be feeling stressed out, which does impact our overall well-being. Yes, it does. So, what are some of the things that we can do? How does our strength help us in terms of overall well-being? These are things that we don't think about, and we do definitely need to think about. One way that my strength is able to show up in my well-being during this time of stress, anxiety, is by, one of my strengths is being a relator. Being a relator allows me to go and talk to other people. And the reason why that's important is that I can express that I need some help. Oftentimes, when we are doing things and it's unfamiliar to us, we have a tendency to put it all on our back, and we're carrying that luggage, that load, and it's weighing us down, which therefore impacts our well-being, right? It impacts our health. It impacts our wellness. It impacts how we interact. It impacts how we sleep, how we show up, how we eat, how we work. It impacts all of that. And when your well-being becomes affected, your strengths need to show up. That's going to help relieve a lot of that stress for you so that you can continue to move forward. What I don't want to happen is that when you're at the pinnacle of doing something revolutionary, when you are at the pinnacle of being a change agent, when you're at the height of being a trailblazer, that because you didn't know how to leverage or harness your strengths, what I call superpowers, because you don't know how to do it, you will fall through. And we can't allow that, because there's a mission on your life. Your mission is to help cultivate, is to help innovate, create, and be a catalyst for others. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, everybody. Does that make sense? Because we all got a purpose or something to do. What I want you to do is, here, I'm putting in the chat a link on how to get on the wait list. The wait list for the 2-day workshop. And what I wanted you to know up front is that when you go to that link to get on the wait list, Every one of us on here. Felicia B, you said informative, detail oriented, writing. Lawana, you said leading by example. Very punctual, very informed, have the ability to bring people together. Jomo, you said communication, market research, competitor, right? So there is an idea in general of a consensus of what you think your strengths are. Do that exercise that I told you, and let's see if what you think your strengths are is how people are perceiving you to be. But when you get on the wait list, it's the Race to Wealth. If you go look up, I put the comments in there. It's bit.ly/Race to Wealth. Get on the wait list. And here's the beauty of it: people that you have known, right? I'm pretty sure you've heard of E.T. You've heard of Jim Rohn. You've heard, of course, Les Brown. You've heard of Lisa Nichols. You've heard of all these people who are motivational speakers or influencers or celebrities, right? Each one of them has their own brand. And as a result of signing up today on the wait list, you get your own professional brand kit, which is important, which is critical. Because when you are going out to starting your business, people want to know what your brand kit is. They want to know what your brand is, and you already have a kit that you can utilize and just hand it out. You're talking about going from 0 to 1,000 in terms of branding. That kit is going to help get you there. Yes? Yes, yes? All right, everyone. So thank you for joining. Please take if you missed Tuesday Learning Lunch, go take a look at that. The goal now is for each one of us plan to wealth. We're in the fourth quarter. Time's up. There's no more sitting by the sideline, scrolling on your phone to see who's next. We don't have time for that. It's your time now. And I can't wait to see you and be on your journey. So make sure you get on the wait list, and I look forward to you being part of the 2-day workshop that's coming up. Everyone have a great lunch, and I'll see you later. Bye.